Welcome back to my channel. Um, Make sure that you subscribe to my channel, you hit the bell to turn on your notifications, and you thumbs up. So this is my top 8 things that are either keto no-nos or that they're not necessary when you first start your keto journey or necessary for keto, period. So the first thing I have on my list is um, you do not have to eat every few hours. You don't have to eat every 3 to 4 hours unless you're on medication. If you're on medication, then definitely eat, if your medication requires you to eat something. But it doesn't have to be like a huge, meal. Just eat something for that. If you are not on any medication, there is no set schedule. You eat when you're hungry because you're not eating to get full. You're eating so that you're no longer hungry. So there's a difference. Only eat when you're hungry. The good thing about keto is it actually takes your appetite. So, just let ketosis do its job, and that'll help you get to your goals quicker if your goals are weight loss. That takes me to my second one. Okay, a meal. A meal does not have to be an entire plate of food. If you are not hungry enough to eat an entire plate of food, don't do it just because you feel like, that's what your old habits were. Your old habits were, I was hungry, so I would just fill up the plate and eat. No, eat just enough to not be full, to not be hungry any longer. That's just that needs to be the golden rule. A lot of times we have an idea in our head that if we don't eat a certain amount of food that something is wrong. No, well, I only ate celery and peanut butter today. Okay, well, if that's all that you wanted, why do you have to have more than that? So we have to train ourselves to get out of that mindset that you have to have a Thanksgiving feast in order to be like, get the nutrients and vitamins that you need. No, we're not eating for that. We're not eating for sport. We're like eating to live. So that's that. Another one, intermittent fasting. Intermittent fasting. It is not required for keto. Intermittent fasting is not required for keto. I'm not an intermittent faster. I lost 40 pounds in about 45 days on keto. My first 45 days, I was down like 40 pounds. I did not intermittent fast. I will not intermittent fast. I know people who do it and they like live by it. They love it. And I'm not knocking them for doing it, but it doesn't work for me because the whole idea of ketosis is to not spike your insulin. And the way you prevent insulin spikes is by keeping a steady stream, keeping your blood sugar at a steady level. So in my mind, the way I see it, when you intermittent fast, it definitely will increase your ketones, but so will exercise and so will just doing the right things. So when you intermittent fast, you give yourself a certain window to eat in, and when you consume so much food in that one period of time, your blood sugar spikes, and then you don't eat anything else for like a long period of time. And then let's say the next day you have this window from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock or 1 o'clock to 6 o'clock, however you do it, where you're allowed to eat. You're pretty much starving yourself for the rest of the time. You're not hungry, but that's what your body's doing. It's not getting any type of food, and then you spike your blood sugar with like a huge meal, or you're eating within that window. Like I said, I don't judge anyone who does it, but that is not required for keto. So anyone who's telling you that is a requirement, they are misinformed. I did not intermittent fast. I lost 40 pounds in like 45 days, and I had no issue. To do fasts, I don't think it's a problem to fast. But what I feel like for me, the reason why I never got into it is because long term, I feel like that would be detrimental to my kidneys, that would be detrimental to my body, and just in general to binge. And you're not so much purging, but you're binging. You're binge eating a certain amount of time to keep doing that to my body. I just feel like that cycle that's not conducive to the lifestyle I'm trying to live. So for me, I find it more productive to eat when I'm hungry. If I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. I'm not going to wait a certain amount of time and eat within a certain, period of time, because my lifestyle is just not set up like that. I'm on the go. Sometimes I'm hungry, sometimes I'm not. I eat when I'm hungry. And another thing, some people call it intermittent fasting. I just call it sleeping in. Like if you stop eating at like 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and then you don't eat again until, I don't know, 11 or 12 o'clock in the afternoon, that's not like, I mean, that's not a fast. We do that all the time. Like as kids, we used to do that. That was called sleeping in. That's not called fasting. So, I mean, I don't know. Tomato, people do it. They call it what they want to call it. To me, a fast is anything over 20 hours or even 18 hours. If you're going 18 hours without eating, then, you know, I look at it like, okay, now you're doing something, and you know, that's okay. 20 hours, 30 hours, I'm impressed. I love it when people do it. I think it's cool. It's just not for everyone. Like I'm not a really nice person when I don't get food, so yeah, I kind of got to eat. So that's what I do. Eat when you're hungry. Just don't eat, you know, ridiculous amounts. And also that keeps down the binging. So if you go so long, you know, and you're counting down the hours till it's time for you to eat again, it's like you're building your life around food, around eating, and that's not how it's supposed to be. Food is just supposed to be something to give you fuel, and then you keep it pushing. That's it. So, like I said, I've heard people say, well, you have to intermittent fast, or intermittent fasting is keto thing, and that will improve your results. No, it won't. No, it won't, because I don't intermittent fast, and I'm telling you, I lost 40 pounds in about 45 days. So it's not a requirement. It's just a personal preference. If you choose to do it, that's cool, but do not feel pressured that that's what you have to do to follow a ketogenic diet, because it's not true. Okay. Another one, hardcore cardio. You do not have to exercise to lose weight at all. On a ketogenic diet, you don't have to exercise to lose weight. You do have to exercise to maintain your muscle tone. And that's a big deal because when you start losing the weight, especially at the rate that I lost it, I lost a lot of weight really fast. So when you do that, you run the risk of losing your muscle mass. The way I prevented my muscle mass from going was by like heavy lifting. I did heavy weights. I did a little bit of cardio, and cardio is good, but with keto, you want to make sure that you maintain that muscle memory. So squats, lunges, lifting, pull-ups, push-ups, stuff like that. You want to do that type of stuff so that your body's like, oh, okay, so we're going to keep these muscles because they're being used. If they're not being used, you're going to wind up losing a lot of weight, but you're going to wind up being mushy. So if you're okay with that, then that's fine. But if that's not the look you're going for, that doesn't have to be a byproduct of keto. Like you don't, because I've also seen that a lot, or heard that. Like I want to lose weight, but I don't want to be like that. I don't want to look mushy. I don't want my stomach to hang. There are things you can do to prevent that. And like I said, so my weights, lifting heavy weights definitely will help with maintaining muscle mass, and also the expenditure by burning the energy, especially if you have like if you have a carby day, or you know you're carb loading. By going to the gym, you definitely will burn your glycogen stores, and that will help you get into ketosis faster if you get bumped out, or even if you're in it. So exercise is great, but it's not required to lose the weight, but it is required if you want to look your best. Also, you do not have to hit your macros. This is something I hear a lot of people saying. They say stuff like they haven't reached their fats for the day, or they haven't reached their 20 carbs for the day. Those are not numbers that you should aspire to reach. Those are your max numbers. Those are your limits. You don't want to reach those numbers. Not saying that you want to have 20 grams of fat for the day. No, you want to have enough for your body to fuel. But if let's say your macros say that you're supposed to have 20 carbs, 20 net carbs, 90 fats and maybe 80 proteins. You don't have to hit those numbers. That's not what you want to do, especially if you have body weight to lose, if you have body fat to burn. The goal should not be to hit anything. The goal should be to stay under. So for me, my carbs are always 0. My goal to hit is 0. Do I eat 0? Of course not. I can eat 10, 15, 20, 30, whatever. But the number, I will not go over 20 when I'm living my life. Right, so you're not supposed to go over 20. Don't go over 20. If you're eating 50 net carbs in your breakfast, you can call it keto, That's not keto. That's a low carb diet, because throughout the rest of the day, your carbs are just going up. So people say keto, but it's not keto. And the way you know you're not in ketosis is because you're still having carb cravings. Once you become fat adapted, those carb cravings, they die. It's like a switch goes off. And I'm not saying you will never have the craving, because your brain still remembers what things taste like, but the actual physical craving of sweets and all of that, it's not going to be the way it is when you're carb fueled once you become fat adapted. So that's a big thing. If you are keto and you are still having cravings and you've been keto for a while, you're not keto, you're low carb. You should get the glucometer and check your blood glucose, and that will let you know, or check your blood ketones, and that will let you know if you are in ketosis, because you're probably not. You're living a low carb life, and that's fine too, because you can lose a lot of weight with low carb diet. Nothing wrong with a low carb diet. It's just, like I said, the low carb diet still promotes the cravings, and that was my issue, so I had to leave it alone. I prefer keto. So yeah, don't worry about hitting your macros. We're not trying to reach the macros if we're trying to lose weight. That's your max. So stay within a decent range of it. You don't want to be low, but don't worry about trying to hit your macros. Okay, another thing, if you are only counting carbs from things that are not vegetables, you are not following a ketogenic diet. You are following a low carb diet. Like I said, that's fine. But when you see your coworker that's following a ketogenic diet and they're dropping weight and they're like making no effort to do it, if you're wondering why the scale is not moving for you or the inches are not coming off, it's probably because you're not following a ketogenic diet. All carbs are carbs. We don't only count certain carbs. If you're following keto, the number is 20 net carbs. Stay within that. Stay with under that. That's the max. And anything over that, I mean, you can still be in ketosis, but it's a matter of checking your ketones, and that will let you know where you are. But if you're like, oh, I only count certain carbs, that's count all carbs. Carbs are carbs. Your body is not going to say, oh, well, that was a carb from a zucchini, but this was a carb from a chip. So I'm going to add the zucchini one as a good carb, and then the one from the chips is going to your hips. No, that's not how it goes. All carbs are carbs. Count them all. Something else. Let me see what else I have on this list. Oh, okay. So the Bulletproof Coffee thing. Bulletproof Coffee is a brand. People are putting butter in coffee and calling that bulletproof coffee. That is not bulletproof coffee. So the Bulletproof Coffee brand actually has it has like octane fuel or something. What it is it has brain fuel. I don't use that one. I use a different one. If anyone is interested in the ones I use, there are only 3 that I really, really love. But and that's not one of them. But I mean, it's super expensive to find a quality MCT oil, and that's what it is. You want a quality MCT oil. If you're getting it from Walmart and it's like $5 or $8 or $12, it's probably garbage. What it is it's coconut oil. You can use coconut oil in your coffee, or use the butter in your coffee, and definitely get your fats in as far as macros go. But that's not going to give you the brain fuel, as the same brain fuel and burst as the MCT oil does. MCT oil, the C6, C8, and C10. C6, it has to be filtered out, or you'll wind up with like stomach problems. I wound up in an emergency room one time because I had a garbage low quality one. I'll do that. I'll tell you guys a story about that if you're interested. But C8 and C10 are like, they're golden. So what it is they're medium chain triglycerides, and I think that's what they are. I don't know. But they skip over the breakdown process and they go straight to your brain, and they're like, they're energy. They give you energy. They give you more mental clarity. They give you focus. It's just crazy, like how you feel once you get like a C8. Once you get a C8, it feels like you just injected the stuff straight into your veins. I love it. But now when you're dealing with coconut oil, I want to say that's C12. That has to be broken down. If it has to be broken down by your liver, it's still a source, but it's pretty much doing the same thing that food does. It's not skipping the process. Anything that's going to skip the process is going to give you the rapid results. So when you're putting coconut oil on stuff, like I said, that's going to increase your fats for the day, which you want to do, but that's not going to give you that brain fuel and that burst of energy. So find a quality MCT oil, C8 or C10. Um, and last but not least, let me make sure I hit everything on my list. Yes. Last but not least, do not, do not, do not, do not, do not, do not give up. Don't give up. Sometimes it's easy to get discouraged, especially if like you're not seeing the results that you want to see, or you see other people and they have amazing results. A lot of times it's your technique. It's things that you're doing and you don't realize you're doing. It's hidden carbs. It's not counting all the carbs. It's not having a quality MCT oil and using something that is requiring the liver to work and for it to get broken down. It's eating too much protein, stuff like that, that are gonna or the intermittent fasting and your insulin is spiking and you're wondering why, like the scale, it kind of moves, or if you have to go to the gym and do an insane amount of cardio just to see like 1 pound or 2 pounds come off in a week, it's probably because something is off. So that's not that don't be discouraged by that, because it happens, but just pay attention to what you're doing. You might want to journal so that you can keep track of your every move. And it's, if you go over it with someone who's probably been in or a little bit more knowledgeable than you, who's been in keto longer or a little bit more knowledgeable, maybe they can like pinpoint where the issue is. You can send me your macros for the day. I can help you with that. If anyone needs help, you can send me kind of what you do or your routine. And if I see any like little red flags, I'll let you know. If you're struggling, if you're stalled, if you feel like you're doing everything right and you're like, oh, I'm just going to give up on keto because it's not working for me, it's probably just something, and it might be something really small, but you just didn't think to look at that as an issue. So, yeah, that's that. But I guess, yeah, that was a quick video. That's everything. If anyone has any questions, comment below. You can message me and I definitely will respond and let you know anything I can. I'm not a doctor, but I've been doing keto for a little while, so I kind of have like little tips here and there that worked for me, things that I've trialed and errored my way through. But make sure that you subscribe to my channel and you hit the bell so that you can get notifications, and please give me a thumbs up. Thank you.